Oh, Tim, are we still on for aerial silks at 6 o'clock today? Okay, I'll see you there.
Camera rolling.
We now interrupt your regularly scheduled programming with breaking news. Here in Southern Nevada, college students are quickly discovering the difference between active and passive reading processes. Let's check in with our reporter at CSN. Emily?
Robert, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. What's going on down there?
Well, we are 1 week into the academic year at CSN, and some students are finding themselves stressed by the amount of reading required for college courses. We interviewed current CSN students as well as tutors regarding this problem, and here's what we found.
So I'm taking 3 classes this semester. I expected a lot of reading out of my English 101 class, not to mention I'm taking biology and philosophy as well. I have a lot of assignments coming up, and between them all, I have like 80 pages of reading to do a night. Between all the reading and everything, I really don't understand much of what I'm reading or comprehend it, not to mention my parents really don't accept failure.
I totally understand that. A lot of what I hear from students is they'll open the book, read the chapter, close the book, and sit in class and wait for the professor to say something they remotely understand.
See, and that's exactly what I did through high school. Now that I've taken a couple college courses, I realize that it's really not that way.
Exactly. Sometimes a professor will integrate the reading into the lecture, but that doesn't always happen. The expectation is that you've already done the reading before you get there. However, first semester students don't usually have the study skills to be able to make that happen, and they'll sometimes confuse this difference between academic reading and reading for pleasure.
Wait. What is the difference between academic and pleasure reading?
Glad you asked. Pleasure reading means reading for enjoyment. This can be anything from Facebook posts, tweets, newspaper and magazine articles, to popular fiction.
Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry Potter. Academic reading, on the other hand, deals with complex subject matter like philosophical concepts, literary devices, and biological terms. Academic reading can be dense, dry, and difficult to get through, whereas reading for pleasure is usually entertaining. It's important to have different reading processes for each reading task.
Different processes. Go on.
Well, in college, students should read in stages. Taking notes is needed to monitor comprehension and ensure understanding, which might mean rereading the text 2 or 3 times. This kind of reading is called critical reading.
But what is critical reading?
Critical reading means that students are constantly taking in new information and comparing it to stuff they already know. They're questioning the validity of the information, the effectiveness of the author's presentation, and the author's credentials, facts, biases, fallacies, in order to actively engage in the reading. We practice critical reading in the reading writing centers on all 3 CSN campuses.
In interdisciplinary reading assistance sessions, it is important to begin by congratulating the student for coming to the center and seeking help. That's the best way to dissolve societal stigmas associated with tutoring. Next, make sure you understand the assignment by looking at the professor's instructions. Is it just a reading assignment? Is the student responding in writing, or studying for a quiz or exam? Once you know the purpose of the assignment, give the student a copy of our 3-stage reading handout and go through it thoroughly.
I think my problem is I really don't like science. I'm only taking this course because it's required for my degree.
Well, that's understandable. Science can be challenging, but you're going to end up taking some courses that are outside of your comfort zone. Maybe I can offer you some strategies before you read to get you excited about the material.
Okay. Before reading, and it says preview, activate schemata, predict, and question. I think I'm going to preview the material, just so I can see how long this is going to take and put it in my schedule.
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
First, discuss the strategies listed in the before reading section. This includes previewing the chapter for time on task, predicting, questioning, and activating schemata. You should define the strategies and then ask the student to choose a strategy or 2 to practice before beginning the assignment.
Okay, this looks exciting. Before reading, we have preview, activate schemata, predict, and question. And I think I really like this preview one because I can just glaze over the entire chapter and I don't have to read it word for word. So I want to try that one.
Good plan for time on task. Let's go into the chapter and see if we can find any headings and subheadings that you have any questions about. That's called activating schemata.
Okay, so this heading is about cell membranes, and I know for a fact that in order for a cell to be functional, it has to have membranes.
Sounds good. Let's go over the chapter and see if we can find any more questions you might have.
Okay.
Go through the same process for the during reading section: picture, answer, annotate, connect, monitor, and correct, and after reading section: summarize, review, reflect, and evaluate. Ask the student to implement their chosen strategies as they read and after they finish the reading task.
So this section here helped me understand the differences between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell reproduction. So I think I'm going to add that to my notes.
I think that's a good idea.
If the student is lacking study skills, like note-taking, you may also give an overview of the 4 active reading strategies, which are annotation, learning vocabulary, note-taking and study skills, and using online research. You may demonstrate one or all of these strategies if needed. After the student has taken notes, answered all of their own questions, and checked for understanding using the textbook chapter's study guide, reflect on the finished reading with the student.
Now that you summarized the reading and answered some of your own questions, let me ask you this. Why do you think your professor thought it was important for you to read this section?
Well, I guess in order to understand the biology of living organisms, we first have to understand how their cells work. So if you think of it that way, you could say that science is pretty cool.
Pretty cool indeed. It's important to leave passive reading for pleasure reading tasks, like social media. When we have an active reading process, one that involves the 3-stage reading handout, we end up leaving the academic reading task feeling more connected to the material and also retaining more information. Fascinating. Back to you in the studio, Robert.
Who are you?
Hey, you like Black Sabbath? No, man. I used to act as if I did because otherwise people would. I thought I was. Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Well, there you have it. Another crisis averted at CSN. Tune in next time for another exciting development. From all of us here at CAS Now 17, happy reading. Hey, did you get my nachos?
Yeah, sure.
Good.